Let me say this up front, and I want you to remember it all the way to the end of this video. This is no longer a rap beef. This stopped being about music a long time ago. What Cardi B just did on that Spaces, what Cardi B said about what was happening while Cardi B was pregnant. This is the single most personal, most explosive, most devastating thing Cardi B has ever said about another woman in this industry. And by the time I'm done breaking it all down, you're going to understand why everybody in the comments is saying the same 3 words. BIA fumbled this. Because here's what happened. In less than 24 hours, the entire female rap timeline went from a moment of peace to a full-scale war. It started in the most unexpected place imaginable. It started with Doja Cat. It started with dancing. And it ended with Cardi B on a 19-minute rampage telling BIA to her face, in front of the whole internet, that BIA never even wrote her biggest record. And I'm going to get to that part. I'm going to get to the part where Cardi B says she has the reference track sitting on her phone right now. But you need to understand how we got here, because the order of events matters. The order of events is the whole story. So let's start at the beginning. Not the beginning of the beef, the beginning of the last 24 hours. Because yesterday morning, something happened that nobody saw coming. Doja Cat hopped on her stream. And Doja Cat did what Doja Cat does. Doja Cat started playing music, vibing, just being herself in front of the camera. And one of the records Doja Cat played was the new Fred Again collaboration, the one BIA raps on. And let me tell you something, Doja Cat didn't just play it. Doja Cat got up. Doja Cat danced. Doja Cat was moving like it was 2014 all over again. And if you know anything about Doja Cat's history, you know exactly what I mean by that. Because before the fame, before the hits, before any of this, Doja Cat was a B-girl. Doja Cat came up in the Los Angeles underground scene. Doja Cat was in a breakdancing crew. That version of Doja Cat, the raw, loose, fun version of Doja Cat that fell in love with music before music was a job, that's who showed up on that stream. And the internet noticed immediately. Within hours, clips of Doja Cat dancing to a BIA record were everywhere. And that's when it got interesting, because the fans weren't celebrating. The fans were warning her. The comments started flooding and telling Doja Cat to be careful. Telling Doja Cat that BIA had thrown shade at Doja Cat in the past. Telling Doja Cat, hey, this woman you're dancing to, this woman does not like you. Now, whether that shade was real, whether it was subliminal, whether it was something the internet inflated into a bigger deal than it ever actually was, that's a separate conversation. But the perception was there. The fans believed BIA had been low-key hostile toward Doja Cat for a while. So from the fan perspective, watching Doja Cat happily dance to a BIA song felt like watching somebody walk into a room full of people who'd been talking about them behind their back. And here's where the story takes its first turn, because BIA was watching. BIA saw the clip. BIA saw the reaction. And instead of being defensive, instead of popping off, BIA did something nobody expected. BIA got online and issued a public apology to Doja Cat. A genuine one. BIA thanked Doja Cat for playing the music. BIA apologized for anything shady BIA had ever said. BIA said she'd always liked Doja Cat's music too. And BIA wished Doja Cat nothing but peace, love, and blessings. And Doja Cat, being Doja Cat, responded with total grace. No worries. Hope you're having a good day. Just like that. 2 grown women, 1 misunderstanding, buried in public, in real time. It was, honestly, one of the most mature moments either fanbase had seen in a while. Everybody exhaled. For about 6 hours, the timeline was at peace. And then the internet did what the internet does. The internet got greedy. Because the moment BIA proved BIA was capable of accountability, the moment BIA showed BIA could say the words, I apologize, out loud, the people came with the follow-up question. And it was a fair question. It was the question on everybody's mind. Okay, BIA, you apologized to Doja Cat. You admitted you were shady. You admitted you were wrong. Beautiful. Growth. We love to see it. Now do Cardi B. Now do Cardi B. Those 4 words. That's where the fuse gets lit. Because if you know anything about the history here, and we're going to walk through all of it, you know that the situation between Cardi B and BIA is not a misunderstanding. It's not a little shade. It's not 2 artists who got their wires crossed. According to Cardi B, and remember we're laying out Cardi B's side exactly as Cardi B told it, what happened between Cardi B and BIA involved Cardi B's marriage, Cardi B's pregnancy, Cardi B's children, and a rumor Cardi B says was manufactured out of thin air and spread through the industry while Cardi B was carrying a baby. So when the fans said, now do Cardi B, they were poking a bear with a very specific, very old wound. And let me give you the history on that wound real quick, because the newer fans in the comments are asking for it, and the context makes everything Cardi B said later hit 10 times harder. This thing did not start yesterday. This goes back to 2024. What the public first saw was musical, a verse on a remix that listeners read as a shot, then a full diss record aimed directly at Cardi B that dropped right in the middle of one of the most turbulent stretches of Cardi B's personal life. And that record didn't stay on music. That record, and the campaign around it, carried allegations about Cardi B's marriage. Allegations Cardi B has now told the world were invented. Cardi B answered the way Cardi B answers, on wax. A diss of her own landed on her album, a record so pointed that by the time her tour rolled around, performing it live in front of thousands of screaming fans became a nightly event. And for a while, that looked like the end of it. The beef went quiet. Both women moved. The timeline found new drama, as the timeline always does. But quiet is not the same as settled. Quiet just means both sides are deciding what the next move is worth. And what the public never knew, what nobody knew until that Spaces, was everything Cardi B says was happening behind the curtain during that entire stretch. The phone calls, the whispers to producers, the rumor allegedly being pushed while Cardi B was pregnant. That's the part that turned a 2-year-old rap beef into what you saw explode this week. The music was the visible 10%. Cardi B just showed us the iceberg. And here's a detail worth pausing on, because it tells you how wired the fan economy around this story already was. The people pressing that question weren't Cardi B's fan base doing reconnaissance. A lot of them were neutral onlookers, hip-hop watchers, the type of comment section voices that treat female rap conflict like a refereeing assignment. Their logic was simple and, honestly, hard to argue with. Accountability is either a value or it's a costume. If BIA could locate grace for Doja Cat over a little old shade, then surely BIA could locate grace for a 2-year war that included allegations about a marriage and a pregnancy. That's how the fans framed it. And in fairness to BIA, there's a counter-argument. BIA clearly does not view the two situations as comparable at all. To BIA, the Doja Cat thing was shade. The Cardi B thing, in BIA's telling, is truth. And you don't apologize for truth. That's the wall this whole story is about to slam into. And BIA answered. Oh, BIA answered. BIA got in those comments and BIA did not apologize. BIA did not extend the same olive branch. BIA did not wish peace, love, and blessings. What BIA said, and I'm paraphrasing to keep this video monetized, was essentially this. Absolutely not. Never. It's that forever. BIA told the people asking that she would never apologize to Cardi B, that everything she ever said about Cardi B was true, and that she stands on all of it. When somebody pointed out that BIA was attacking Cardi B back in 2024 and now wanted to play the mature one with Doja Cat, BIA doubled down. When somebody else said BIA was repeating the same pattern she'd repeated for years, BIA rejected that completely. This ain't that, BIA said. Whatever was said about that other one, BIA stands on it, and it's never getting taken back. And notice something else about that comment section standoff. Every single reply BIA gave was instant, personal, and absolute. No manager filtering. No publicist language. No cooling off period. BIA was in there rumbling with random accounts one by one, standing on every word, telling critics to keep it moving. From a pure strategy standpoint, that's the moment BIA surrendered the one advantage the Doja Cat apology had just created. For 6 hours, BIA owned the mature narrative. The headline was BIA grows. By refusing the same grace to Cardi B and doing it in a tone that guaranteed screenshots, BIA handed that narrative right back. And screenshots travel. Screenshots are forever. Screenshots are what land on the desk of a woman who just finished a tour and has a phone full of receipts. Now I need you to sit with that for a second, because this is the exact moment everything flipped. BIA had just demonstrated, publicly, hours earlier, that BIA knows how to de-escalate. BIA knows how to be the bigger person. BIA knows how to end a conflict with grace. BIA just did it for Doja Cat, in front of everyone. And then, in the very same news cycle, in the very same comment section, BIA looked at the exact same opportunity with Cardi B and chose war. Chose it. That choice is what set Cardi B off. And once you hear what Cardi B had been holding back, you're going to understand why Cardi B saw that choice as the final straw. Because here's the part most people covering this story are skipping. Cardi B tried. Cardi B actually tried to keep this quiet. While Cardi B was on tour, while Cardi B was performing the very record that everybody knows is aimed at this situation, Cardi B looked at the thousands of fans in that arena and told them something most artists never tell their fan base. Cardi B told the fans to leave BIA alone. Cardi B said, don't harass her. Cardi B said, she's not bothering me. I'm not tripping. We're going to perform the song. We're going to have fun with it. But do not take it beyond that. Cardi B publicly, explicitly, on the biggest stage possible, told the most loyal fanbase in female rap to stand down. Think about how rare that is. Think about how many artists use their fanbase as a weapon. How many artists let the fans do the dirty work and then play innocent? Cardi B did the opposite. Cardi B took the high road while performing a diss record. That's not nothing. That matters. So from Cardi B's chair, here's what the last stretch of time looked like. Cardi B de-escalated. Cardi B told the fans to chill. Cardi B kept it on wax, kept it on stage, kept it in the art. And meanwhile, BIA is online telling the world that everything BIA ever said about Cardi B is true and always will be. From Cardi B's perspective, and Cardi B said this in so many words, the grace was not returned. The grace was spit on. So Cardi B did what Cardi B does. Cardi B got on Spaces. And Cardi B went scorched earth for 19 straight minutes. Now, before I break down what Cardi B said, let me be honest with you about where I stand, because I think you deserve that. I have been critical of the Cardi B Spaces meltdowns in the past. I've said it on this channel. The late night rants, the back and forths, the chaos. A lot of the time I watch Cardi B do that and I think, this is beneath where Cardi B is in the game. Cardi B is a diamond selling artist. Cardi B sells out arenas. Cardi B's brand deals are pristine. The online fighting, most of the time, subtracts from that. But this one is different. And by the end of this breakdown, I think you'll agree with me. Because this time Cardi B didn't start it, and what Cardi B revealed is not gossip. What Cardi B revealed is an accusation about something that allegedly happened while Cardi B was pregnant. That's not beef. That's personal. So let's get into exactly what Cardi B said, because Cardi B said a lot, and every layer of it matters. Cardi B opened with the accusation that sits at the center of this entire war. Cardi B said that months ago, and Cardi B gave the timeline. Cardi B said it was around April, during the period when Cardi B was pregnant with her daughter. BIA allegedly went around the industry telling people that Cardi B was cheating on her husband. And Cardi B didn't say this vaguely. Cardi B got specific. Cardi B said BIA told rappers. Cardi B said BIA told a producer who was close to Cardi B's then husband. Cardi B said the rumor came back to her through mutual people, and when Cardi B heard it, Cardi B was sitting at home, 5, going on 6 months pregnant, watching Netflix, and the phone rings, and suddenly Cardi B is being asked to explain a story about Cardi B's own marriage that Cardi B had never heard before in Cardi B's life. And here's the detail that Cardi B kept hammering, the detail that makes this accusation so explosive. Cardi B said there was nothing to find. Cardi B said she had never flirted with anyone, never texted anyone, never had a DM with anyone, never so much as spoken to anyone outside of her marriage during that entire stretch. Cardi B challenged anyone, to produce a message, a date, a screenshot, a witness, anything. Cardi B said that for the entire 7 years of that relationship, Cardi B was faithful, and that nobody in the industry, nobody in the streets, nobody anywhere could ever stand up and say otherwise. Cardi B even acknowledged the wild stuff Cardi B had said on live streams during the rough patches of the marriage and separated that completely from actual infidelity. Cardi B's position was simple. Say what you want about me, but you will not rewrite my loyalty. That was Cardi B's line in the sand. Now stop and think about what that means if Cardi B's version is accurate. A rumor about infidelity, allegedly invented, allegedly spread to rappers and producers, allegedly aimed at a woman's husband, while that woman is pregnant. Cardi B said it directly. This person didn't just want to battle Cardi B on a record. Cardi B said this person wanted to destroy Cardi B's whole life. And whether you believe every word of Cardi B's account or not, you have to admit that this reframes the entire beef. Because up until now, the public story was two rappers don't like each other. There were subliminals. There was a diss song. This Spaces flipped the frame. Now the story, Cardi B's story, is that the music was camouflage for something that happened off the record, behind the scenes, in phone calls and conversations the public never saw. That's the bombshell. That's the headline. Everything else Cardi B said orbits around it. But Cardi B wasn't done. Cardi B went back to the beginning, to where the tension actually started, and this part is important for the timeline. According to Cardi B, the original issue was a sample. Cardi B said she and another artist ended up using the same sample on 2 different songs, and that BIA began implying Cardi B had copied her. Cardi B's response to that was basically, "Are you serious?" Cardi B pointed out that shared samples happen constantly in music, that nobody owns a sample 2 artists license independently, and that she even had a phone conversation with BIA about it. A conversation Cardi B said ended like 2 grown women, settled, squashed, done. But then, Cardi B said, months later, when Cardi B dropped a music video, the copying accusation started up again online. And Cardi B said that's when she realized the phone call meant nothing. Cardi B said the piece was a performance because the pattern kept repeating, private resolution, public reignition, over and over. And each time, Cardi B said, the accusations got bolder until they moved off the music entirely and into Cardi B's marriage. And then Cardi B added a detail that made the whole room go quiet. Cardi B said she eventually figured out a possible motive. Cardi B said she came to find out that her ex-husband had allegedly been involved with someone from BIA's own circle, one of her friends. Now let me be careful here. That is Cardi B's claim, said on a Spaces, in the middle of a rant. It's an allegation, not a proven fact. But Cardi B presented it as the missing puzzle piece, the reason, in Cardi B's mind, why this woman allegedly wanted Cardi B's marriage to burn. Cardi B said the jealousy in this industry runs so deep that some people don't just want your career. Cardi B said they want your house, your cars, your relationship, your joy. Cardi B even said some people want your nightmares, that they covet your life so completely they take the bad parts too. Agree with the psychology or don't, but that's the theory Cardi B laid out, and it clearly came from a very raw, very real place. You could hear it in her voice. This was not performance. This was years of resentment finally getting air. Then Cardi B went after the street credibility angle, and this part got surgical. BIA has referenced Cardi B's past, Cardi B's neighborhood affiliations, all of that. Cardi B addressed it head-on. Cardi B said she got put on at 16 years old in her own projects, surrounded by people Cardi B grew up with, went to school with, people who are still Cardi B's best friends to this day. Cardi B said nobody in her hood ever made her do anything to belong, that the ugly stories people tell about how women get initiated were never her story, never her block, never her life. And then Cardi B turned it around. Cardi B said BIA is from Boston, from the good part of Boston, Cardi B emphasized, and that BIA raps about a New York street life BIA never lived. Cardi B said, and this is a quote that traveled, that there are no bodegas where BIA grew up. Cardi B's whole point was authenticity. You rap a fantasy, Cardi B said, and you use that fantasy to come measure my reality. And whether you're a Cardi B fan or not, that is a devastating frame, because it attacks the one thing a street-oriented rapper cannot afford to lose, the perception that their lyrics are their life. And then came the moment that ended the debate for a lot of people. Cardi B said, Cardi B looked straight into the microphone and said, that B.I. didn't write her biggest record. Cardi B said she has the reference on her phone right now. Cardi B said the ghostwriting conversation that BIA has used against other people for years applies to BIA herself. And Cardi B claimed she is holding the receipts to prove it. Now again, that is Cardi B's claim. The reference track has not been released as of this recording. But understand the chess move here. Cardi B has now created a countdown. Because if Cardi B really has that reference, Cardi B can drop it anytime. Every day BIA responds without that track coming out is a day Cardi B holds the leverage. And BIA knows it. Everybody in the comments knows it. That single line, you didn't even write your hit record, I have the reference, might end up being the most important sentence of this entire feud. Screenshot that. Remember where you heard it framed that way. And there were moments in that Spaces that told you everything about the emotional temperature. At one point, mid-rant, Cardi B's phone situation cut out. Another call coming in, somebody trying to reach her in the middle of all of it, and Cardi B had to stop, check the line, and come back. And instead of cooling her down, that interruption did the opposite. Cardi B came back hotter. Cardi B said she was being nice before. Cardi B said her kindness got taken for weakness. And then Cardi B reached for a metaphor that only Cardi B could deliver. Cardi B said when she decides somebody needs to be taught a lesson, she wets the belt. She put salt on it. Anybody who grew up in a household where that image means something understood instantly. Cardi B was saying the grace period is over, and the discipline portion of the program has begun. Cardi B threw a challenge in there too, a commercial one. Cardi B said, essentially, before you speak on me, go sell out an arena in your own city. Show me that first. That's Cardi B framing the hierarchy the way Cardi B sees it. This is not a battle between equals. This is a superstar being poked by someone who, in Cardi B's telling, never made it. And those are Cardi B's words, not mine. There were personal shots flying about age and relationships as well, on a night where nothing was off the table. And the commentator in me has to note that some of that cuts both ways. But the thrust of Cardi B's argument was never really about insults. It was about the accusation at the center. The insults were the fire. The rumor was the fuel. Cardi B also made a point about receipts of a different kind. Cardi B said she had already done the investigation herself. Cardi B said that when the cheating rumor reached her, Cardi B started calling everybody, the artists, the producer, asking who said what. And Cardi B said every trail led back to the same person. Cardi B even said she'd had conversations with someone connected to BIA's management at the time. Cardi B's message was clear. This is not paranoia. This is documentation. I asked the questions. I got the names. I know where the rumor was born. That's what Cardi B said. And Cardi B ended that section with a promise that should worry every single person who has Cardi B's name in their mouth right now. Cardi B said she has more. Cardi B said she's saving things. Cardi B referenced the next album and told everybody listening that there's ammunition in the tuck for all of them. Cardi B said she doesn't even feel like doing it, but she could. And if you know anything about how Cardi B moves, when Cardi B says there's more, there's more. Now, I want to pause here and zoom out, because there's a bigger picture forming and most of the coverage is missing it. Look at the positions everybody ended up in. Doja Cat apologized to nobody, accepted an apology, and went back to dancing. BIA apologized to Doja Cat in the morning and declared eternal war on Cardi B by the afternoon. And Cardi B, after months of telling fans to leave BIA alone, after keeping the beef on stage and on wax, finally took the gloves all the way off and put the entire backstory on the record. 3 women. 3 completely different philosophies of conflict. And the contrast between Doja Cat's approach and everybody else's approach is where this story gets genuinely fascinating, because Doja Cat also spoke, and what Doja Cat said might be the most quoted part of this entire news cycle when the dust settles. So let's go to Doja Cat. Because while Cardi B was going scorched earth on Spaces, Doja Cat was back on stream, calm as still water, delivering what I can only describe as a masterclass in de-escalation. The fans had come at Doja Cat again. People telling Doja Cat she was being shaded, that she shouldn't be playing BIA's music, that she needed to pick a side. And Doja Cat's answer was one of the realest things an artist at her level has said all year. Doja Cat said she is not in high school. Doja Cat said she is a 30-year-old woman with a life and responsibilities, and she doesn't have the superpower some artists seem to have, the ability to carry beef on one shoulder and a career on the other. Doja Cat said if somebody calls her a name, she doesn't take it personally, because she doesn't believe it's actually about her, and more importantly, because Doja Cat knows who Doja Cat is. Doja Cat said she doesn't hate herself, so nobody else's opinion of her can move the needle. And then Doja Cat said the part that really matters. Doja Cat is going to keep listening to the music. Doja Cat said hearing BIA's voice doesn't make her shudder at night. Doja Cat said nobody is taking a song she loves away from her, not even the person who made it. And Doja Cat didn't stop there. Doja Cat drew the one line that actually exists for her. Doja Cat said if somebody came for her family, Doja Cat specifically mentioned her dad, that would be different. That would get under her skin. But the idea of keeping tabs on who shaded whom, flagging people, maintaining a list, Doja Cat called that whole mentality high school. Doja Cat said everyone in this industry is just trying to figure it out, that she'd rather be a master of de-escalating everything, that there's no point where people should feel hostile toward each other over small things. Doja Cat even joked that she's got maybe 100 years to live, probably less because of her habits, and she's going to spend them doing whatever she wants, not curating grudges. And I have to give Doja Cat credit here, because this is a genuine evolution. Just a couple of years ago, Doja Cat was at war with her own fan base, defensive, combative, ready to tell anyone to unfollow her at the slightest friction. This version of Doja Cat, unbothered, self-aware, refusing to inherit anybody's conflict, this is growth. This is an artist who decided peace is a better brand than chaos. And it cost Doja Cat nothing. Doja Cat danced to a song, accepted an apology, stated a philosophy, and went back to work. Clean. Now, I know what some of you are already typing. Some of you think Doja Cat's statement was a subtle shot, that the timing, right in the middle of the Cardi B and BIA explosion, was Doja Cat positioning herself above the drama while Cardi B was still in it. I don't read it that way, and let me tell you why. Doja Cat and Cardi B have their own relationship, their own history, their own understanding. Doja Cat wasn't commenting on Cardi B's choices. Doja Cat was answering Doja Cat's fans about Doja Cat's stream, about a song Doja Cat played. There's a difference between refusing to inherit a beef and disrespecting someone who's fighting one. Doja Cat stayed in her lane completely, and honestly, the discipline that takes, when the entire timeline is trying to drag you into a war between 2 other women, deserves respect, not suspicion. That's my read. Get in the comments and tell me yours. And let's take one more beat on Doja Cat, because Doja Cat's position in all of this deserves its own moment. Remember who Doja Cat was online just a few years ago? Doja Cat was the artist at war with her own fanbase, changing her look, torching the stan accounts, telling anyone who questioned her choices exactly where they could go. Doja Cat was defensive, then offensive, then outright provocative, And there was a stretch where it genuinely felt like Doja Cat was trying to shed fans on purpose, like fame itself had become the enemy. Fast forward to this week, and that same artist is the calmest person in a three-way firestorm. Doja Cat played the record, took the apology, gave the grace, stated the philosophy, and went back to dancing. No side taken, no beef inherited, no energy carried. And here's why that matters beyond Doja Cat. In a genre where women are constantly pushed into gladiator pits for engagement, where the comment sections demand that every female rapper pick a team and bleed for it, Doja Cat just modeled a third option. Participate in the culture. Enjoy the art. Refuse the war. Whether that posture holds when the next storm comes is a fair question, and honestly, it's one of the most interesting things to watch about Doja Cat going forward. But this week, Doja Cat was untouchable, precisely because Doja Cat refused to touch anything. But here's the question I want to leave hanging over this entire video, because it's the question nobody can answer yet. What does BIA do now? Think about the corner BIA has talked herself into. BIA apologized to Doja Cat, which means BIA has admitted, on the record, that BIA is capable of being wrong, capable of shade, capable of apology. But in the same breath, BIA told the world that everything BIA ever said about Cardi B is fact. So BIA is now locked in. If the cheating rumor is false, and Cardi B swears it is, swears there is no message, no date, no witness, nothing, then BIA can't walk it back without admitting the central claim of BIA's side was fabricated. And if BIA holds the line, then BIA is betting everything that Cardi B never drops that reference track, never names those names, never pulls the receipts Cardi B claims to have. That's the chessboard. BIA drew a line in permanent marker the same day BIA proved BIA owns an eraser. That contradiction is going to define everything that happens next. Watch it, because one of these two women is sitting on evidence, and if it ever drops, this story goes from beef to bombshell all over again. And one more layer before we land this, because it's the part that genuinely made me stop. In the middle of all that rage, Cardi B said something that explains Cardi B better than anything Cardi B has said in years. Cardi B said her friends have to constantly remind her why people come at her. Cardi B said she can't even believe it half the time, that she'll ask why somebody is so mad at her, and the answer she gets back is, because you're Cardi. Because she exists at the level she exists at. Because the career, the house, the love, the visibility, all of it makes Cardi B a target whether Cardi B engages or not. And Cardi B said she's had to learn to understand that. Now, you can hear that and call it ego. Or you can hear it the way it actually sounded. As a woman genuinely trying to process why a rumor about her marriage got manufactured while she was carrying her daughter, and landing on the only explanation that makes sense to her. That some people want what she has so badly, they'll take the worst parts of her life too. That's a dark thought. That's the kind of thought that keeps a 19-minute Spaces burning at full temperature from the first minute to the last. And it's why, love Cardi B or not, this rant didn't feel like content. It felt like a person finally saying the quiet part at full volume. And let's be real about the stakes here, because they're not small. Cardi B just finished a tour. Cardi B has a fan base that moves like an army, and Cardi B, to her credit, is the one who told that army to stand down in the first place. Cardi B has albums coming, and Cardi B just told us the ammunition is loaded. On the other side, BIA has a record with real momentum, the very record Doja Cat was dancing to when all of this started, and BIA is about to drop a debut project into the middle of a storm BIA just chose to keep alive. The industry math on this is brutal. Cardi B is fighting on Cardi B's home turf. The Spaces rant, the fanbase, the headlines. BIA's best weapon has always been the music itself, the records, the pen, and Cardi B just claimed the pen isn't even hers. That's the fight now. Not shade, not subliminals. Authenticity versus receipts. Everything else is noise. Now let me talk to the insiders for a second, the ones who understand how this economy actually works. Because there's a machinery underneath all of this that nobody likes to say out loud. Beef is content. Beef is engagement. Beef is the comment sections filling up at 2 in the morning, the reaction channels eating for a week, the streams spiking on both sides of the diss records. Both of these women know that math. But here's the part that separates a smart feud from a destructive one: control. Cardi B, for all the chaos of a 19-minute Spaces, has actually been the one trying to control the blast radius, telling the fans to stand down, keeping it on records, choosing the moment to finally speak. The risk for Cardi B is obvious. Every rant feeds the machine, and the machine does not care about Cardi B's piece. The risk for BIA is different and, frankly, more dangerous. BIA just told the world that everything she ever said was fact, hours after proving she knows how to apologize. If even one piece of Cardi B's counter-evidence surfaces, a name, a message, that reference track, the apology BIA gave Doja Cat becomes the exhibit that proves BIA could have chosen differently and didn't. That's a brutal position to defend. And watch the fan armies, because they're already mobilizing. One side treating this as a queen defending her family, the other side treating it as a bully punching down. Both narratives are already live. Both sides are already clipping, and whichever way the next shoe drops, somebody's timeline is getting scorched. That's the game. It rewards escalation and it punishes retreat, and right now, neither of these women is retreating. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with the strangest 24 hours female rap has given us in a long time. A dance video that became an apology that became a challenge that became a refusal that became a 19-minute scorched earth Spaces that reframed a 2-year-old beef as something much darker and much more personal than the public ever knew. And a third woman, standing off to the side, dancing, telling everybody to graduate from high school. You could not script this. And the wildest part? It's not over. Cardi B said there's more in the tuck. BIA said she's standing on everything. Doja Cat said she's dancing either way. Somebody is going to move next, and when they do, you already know we're going to be right here breaking it down. So sound off in the comments, because I want to hear every take. 1. Was Cardi B justified going this hard? Or did Cardi B take it too far even for what was allegedly done? 2. Should BIA have extended the same apology to Cardi B that BIA gave Doja Cat? Or is some beef just permanent? And 3. The big one. Do you believe Cardi B actually has that reference track? And if Cardi B drops it, is this beef over on the spot? Pick a number and go. And if this is your first time finding this channel, this is what we do. We take the story everybody's talking about, and we give you the version with the context, the timeline, and the real stakes. Subscribe, tap the bell, and do not go anywhere. Because if you thought this situation was layered, wait until you see what we just uncovered in the next one. It connects to all of this in a way nobody is talking about yet. I'll see you there.